Welcome in to the fall sports season premiere of This Week in Mariemont Warriors Athletics here on MariemontSports.com. My name is Jason Griefer. We're happy to be joined once again by Mariemont Athletic Director Tom Nerl. Tom, I noticed you're in the office today. You're not out like doing some kind of like lawn maintenance or putting lines down or anything like that. How did you manage that?
Well, we have a new turf field in Cousel Stadium, which has all the lines you could possibly ask for on there. And so hopefully until the springtime, I'm in this office doing these podcasts. Because if not, that means something's in trouble, and it's probably me. So,
Well, then
yeah, it's great turf and open it up well.
Yeah. Well, that's a good thing. Take a little bit off of your plate there for sure. But we appreciate some of the time here. Before we get into talking about your individual sports that we have going on in the fall season, and pretty much everything's already up and running as we're getting going here on the podcast. Just want to have you go over with the Mariemont fan base, parents, families, students, what have you, the COVID policies that you have in effect, not only for events at Cousel Stadium, but also the indoor events as well, just so everybody has an idea of where we are up to date as we're approaching the end of August.
Sure. Following CDC guidelines, our athletes and coaches will wear masks while traveling on any school buses or vans. But as far as fans go, there is no mask policy in our stands, either for volleyball inside the gymnasium or any event in the stadium, which would be football and soccer. So you're maskless. If you are more comfortable wearing a mask, by all means, please wear a mask, but we are not requiring that at this time. All tickets for our events are electronic tickets only. There is no cash taking at the gate, and you can get those tickets on our Mariemont Sports website under tickets. All varsity events are $7, all tickets. All JV only events are $5, as are junior high events. If it's a JV and varsity combined event, then the admission is $7, all tickets.
Okay. So take note of that, fans, right there. Masks are optional right now at Mariemont High School for both indoor and outdoor. Well, let's start indoor first of all here on the podcast, and let's talk about your volleyball team. Rough year last year, to say the least there for sure. A lot more downs and ups, unfortunately, and sometimes you have years like that. Of course, a lot of people would say 2020 was more of a down year than an up year in general, but 2021 is a new year, turning a new leaf, and they get started with a 4-set win over Bethel Tate to get things going. Wound up winning 25-12 in the fourth to take things there. You're going to get Madeira on Tuesday, so pretty big rivalry to start the season there. And then you've got other action coming up this coming weekend. Indian Hill will be on the docket next week as league play gets going pretty early in the season. What are the expectations from what you've seen and talking to Coach Brooke Logan as the season gets started, and especially given that you're going to be getting into the league pretty early?
Yeah, we knew if you go back to what we said last year on the volleyball team, and we said it was a very young team. We had lost a lot of seniors from the year before. This is still a very young team. So a lot of those athletes that played last year, played volleyball, are once again varsity athletes. Once again, we have 2 seniors. We have a number of juniors, a number of sophomores that got a lot of experience last year and will get experience this year. So we expect the play is much better already. So we expect a few more wins than last year, but just seeing the competition, as a team, as an athlete, the first thing you have to do is learn how to compete, and then compete consistently, and then win consistently, and then win championships. So we've seen a lot of improvement out of this group of athletes so far. Just a lot of confidence on that court on Saturday. So we have 2 seniors, Anna Scalina and Amy Moeller, and then we have a whole cast of characters back from last year, and we're really looking forward to it. So as you said, we'll open things up with Madeira on Tuesday. We have the Trailblazers coming in here on Thursday. We have a dual meet, try match, I guess you'd say, with Norwood and New Richmond on Saturday, and then back in the league next week with Indian Hill. So really looking for some improved results out of our volleyball team this year.
More experience from a year ago can only help them going forward into this year. Let's step outside and let's jump onto the tennis courts. Your team is off to a blistering start on the year, sweeping Ursuline, beating Anderson and Lakota West, each 4-1 in those. So really good stuff there thus far. Take us through kind of a player or two who stood out to you, your conversations with the coaches, and also how the coaches have managed training through this sweltering heat and humidity that's seemingly been sat over the top of Greater Cincinnati for the last few weeks.
The last week has really been hot, and we're not in school yet. We don't start school till Wednesday, so we've been fortunate in the first couple of weeks of matches to play early in the day. But early August was a little bit cooler than that. This team I think we had two spots. I think we graduated two seniors off this team last year, off a young team in tennis as well. And so to have that crew back, and then with the addition of a freshman on there, they're a really strong team. And so we saw them have a really good run last year with about 19 wins, and we expect them to have that run again. It's really hard to knock Indian Hill off the throne. I mean, their program's just so strong, and that's what you have to go through to win the league. But last year we had 7 girls move on to the district tournament, and we think with the cast that we have this year, we can do that again.
And before we talk next, they're going to have 6 matches already in the books as well before reconvening again here on the podcast. With a lot of the returners that you have back, do the coaches already feel like they have a good feel for this team, or are they still trying to figure that out here? We go on, as you said, with a couple of new additions as well.
Yeah, they're still trying to figure things out. Just the change from last year and changing up. Your doubles, your singles, those things get mixed up over the season. And so just trying to find that right mix on who are your 3 strong singles players, and then what's your best doubles combination. So we'll see coach tinkering with that a little bit. The core of 8 varsity players is already set and is really strong. But I think you'll see a little bit of going back and forth. You may even see a JV player or 2 come up as we get through the season. And I think their best is yet to come.
Let's jump onto the golf course, and let's talk about your boys, because they have been off to a rip-roaring start. Finished 3rd at the CHL preview, but outside of that, they have been on a path of destruction. Needless to say, they're 7-0 in match play. Coming into our conversation here today, looking to, of course, reclaim the CHL title from 2 years ago. Do you get the sense, perhaps, with what they had coming back, they were maybe putting in some extra work, or there was some extra motivation given the fact they're coming into this year not the defending league champs?
Once again, we only lost one starter off that team last year, and Andrew Getchy, and having everyone back again a year stronger, a year more mature, figuring this game out. It's going to be a rough road to win the league. Madera is very good. Indian Hill is very good. And so the league championship, just facing off of those 3, is going to be really quite a tournament. And then having Madera in our tournament with us as we go to sectional and district play. So it's going to be tough to win it. I think there's a try match today with Madera and Indian Hill at Camargo. So it's been a few weeks since the preview, where we just finished right behind both those teams. So it's going to be good to see where we are now. And then, the dynamic of once school gets in and you're playing after school instead of earlier in the day, how that school day affects you, and you're a little bit tired when you come out of classes. But just seeing how they handle that. But again, a veteran team, and the 2 underclassmen, kind of freshman, sophomore. I mean, they've medaled. So just a good start for them. Great leadership out of our seniors. So we're really looking forward with Coach Calloway to see if we can get the league title back here, and then go to districts again.
Be looking forward to talking about it. As you said, that's going to be a very, very competitive league at the top there, as you said, with yourselves, Madeira, and also, of course, Indian Hill. Let's stay outside, and let's talk about teams that are actually going to get maybe a little bit of a break from the heat and humidity, and your cross-country teams getting the season started under the lights this coming Friday at the Moeller Primetime Invitational. They'll be back at it a week from there, heading to Loveland. As we said earlier, the weather has been a little tough to deal with as far as conditions go outside, heat and humidity and what have you, really the last couple of weeks here in Greater Cincinnati. How has the training process been for your runners, and how would you say the coaches have managed the runners to not overexert them when the conditions get even less favorable?
Well, it'll be interesting on Friday because, as you said, it's a primetime meet at 6:00 at night. And all the other running that we've been doing so far to date has been in the morning when it is a little bit cooler. They've been on the trails that are around Mariemont and running the streets around Mariemont. And so when that practice shifts to the afternoon this week, starting on Wednesday, I think it's going to be a little bit more grueling to them. And so I know the coach is preaching hydrate, 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 then running into packs. But we competed on Saturday, a very hot day at Fortress Obetz at the OHSA preseason meet. We took a full squad up there competing in that. And then a couple of boys came back playing a soccer game the same day. And so I'm sure their tank was on empty by the end of that day. But it'll be good to get back on Moeller, run under the lights. It'll be a little bit cooler. But then that grind of a schedule starts up the following week. And we've got a very good boys team returning. They're all back. And the girls team that was close last year, they're back. So we're really looking forward to see our kids out there and competing, and probably bringing home a lot more hardware this year.
And we'll be looking forward to talking about that hardware as we go forward here. Again, a pretty prestigious meet. It's always a fun one for the kids to get to run under the lights there, especially because it will be given a break from the heat and humidity, hopefully when that time comes. Let's move on to the soccer pitch, and let's start off with the girls first here, starting off the season with a 1-0 win over Seven Hills. So always good there to get an opening win, especially if you're able to pitch a shutout. Going to get Ross on this coming Tuesday, but we look at the schedule and we see a pretty big one on Saturday in a match with a Cincinnati Country Day. Of course, they were the team that ended the Warriors' hopes for an undefeated state championship last year in the state tournament. So I have to imagine there, Tom, a lot of your returners have had an eye on that one during preseason training. And then, oh, by the way, you follow that up with your biggest rival in Madeira. Pretty big week coming up.
It is. And there's you take a 5-mile radius around Mariemont High School, and there's some pretty good soccer in there. And we face a lot of it early in the season. I mean, Seven Hills, a 1-0 win there. Then you, as you said, you have Country Day right up the hill here, Madeira, Indian Hill right up there. You have Turpin on the other side of the Little Miami River. There's a lot of good soccer, and we're not even talking about Division I schools. We're not even talking about Milford, which is a little bit further out, or Summit, a little bit further down the road in the other direction. So there's a lot of soccer, a lot of good soccer here. And then to open up with, Seven Hills, Country Day, Madeira, then Indian Hill. You've got Ross in here, and Ross is going to be a very physical contest. They always are. We know that's coming in. And so to get that one, hopefully with a win out of that one, rest up a little bit, come back with Country Day. But that's always, it's early in the season enough. So if you get the win, it's good against Country Day. If you don't get the win, then you know what you have to work on. And you probably have about, you probably have about 12 weeks to get ready before you face them again. Yeah, it's going to be a big one.
Over on the boys side, of course, you mentioned all the great soccer within a 5-mile radius of Mariemont. And on the boys side, there was no one better last year than Mariemont. Of course, the unbeaten run to the state championship a year ago. They began the defense of the state title, also playing Seven Hills over the weekend. Do get the win 2-1 there. Keeper Maddox Miller also making 5 saves to help secure the win there. So obviously you got an even bigger bullseye on you now that the team won the state championship, didn't lose at all during the season last year en route to the state title. What's the makeup of this team compared to those state champions from a year ago? And are the coaches looking for maybe a younger person to maybe step up and try and fill the void to fill in for some of your departed players?
Yeah. You just have to. I mean, graduation, we lost a big piece of that team there. We lost almost half the team through graduation last year, and it was a very unselfish team too. And so, not that this team is any less unselfish, but that's just what you have to find out. Everyone knew their roles last year. Everyone adopted those roles. It's still early in the season. This is a younger team compared to the squad that we had last year. Very junior, senior heavy team last year. You lose the all-state player. You lose another all-league performer. 3 or 4 all-city performers off that team. So there's a lot to fill, and so this is going to be a little bit more blue collar, a little bit more grind them out. But again, Seven Hills is always very tough in the opener. We're glad to get out of there with a win. CHCA tomorrow night. That's going to be a good contest. The physical Ross Rams in here, and then Country Day, which was a district final game, I believe, last year. So that's a big game as well. So 4 of them right down the stretch, and you turn around and then face the Mustangs next week. So we're going to know where we are. All streaks end sometime. If we can whip off another 22, that'd be nice. But it's a little bit more difficult, than it's easier said than done. So, but coach has been working them well. They've been working well so far. They've learned a lot of things about themselves. So let's just see if we can get through with the winning week and see where we are when we open up league play.
We had some fun last year and talking about the team you had last year. As they said, they went on to win the state championship, about how many all league honorees we were going to have. And I think you had said you were going to settle with maybe 10 first league all honorees there. Do you have a number in mind for this year's team?
I don't think it's going to be 10. But, I think with what we have coming back, I wouldn't doubt, I think 4 or 5 is realistic, and you only have that many in the league. I know, I don't want to put things on other people's bulletin boards before we start the season. That Mariemont AD said they're going to take all the all-stars again. So we'll wait and see. But we've got a few young players coming up that are going to be pretty good. I don't know if they're all league caliber yet. And the guys we have coming back, there's about 4 good ones, and they should get some recognition as we go along. They're going to have to lead this team. And no one's talking about repeating yet. We didn't talk about winning the title last year until after we won the title. So it just with any sport, you want to improve every game. You want to get the W. And if you do all the right steps along the way, you'll get that W. But that just can't be your bottom line. You have to improve every week, play together as a team every week. And as long as they do that, they'll be just fine.
Speaking of getting the W, your football team did that in a very, very complete way in their season opener, beating Oakwood 43-10. Quarterback David Dortson throws 4 touchdown passes. You get 2 pick sixes from Connor Souders, I believe, in the third quarter of that game to really kind of stretch things out there. So you get that one, you get the win under your belt, also coming off of a really, really good run in the postseason. You got some help for some upsets along the way in the postseason, but you took advantage of it, made a really nice run there. So a lot of momentum coming into this season. I'm wondering how you felt the team looked in week 1 coming off of last year, and also given the fact this was a pretty special night as well to start the year, because we were honoring also the new Hall of Fame class at Mariemont High School.
Yeah, the home opener is always a fun night for us. We always have our Kuzel Hall of Fame inductees there, and we had Mac Lewis and Clara Gilmore, both from the class of 15, both swimmers. Mac is currently our varsity swim coach here at Mariemont, and Clara was a state champion as a junior in her own right. And we were fortunate to have those two there. Will Grimmer, who is class of 15, was in one of the tour qualifiers out at Rivers Bend. And so he had made the cut. There was rain delayed from Thursday. He made the cut on Friday. He had to play another round on Friday. So he could not attend that night. We do have another night in December where we will welcome Will into the Hall of Fame. We also have 2 members from the class of 12 who did not go in on Friday. One is Eric Swanson, who's currently in the bullpen for the Seattle Mariners. And so, of course, I guess if you got to pick or choose, you got to stay with the job.
He's kind of busy.
Yeah, you got to stay with the job, 8th inning guy, trying to nail down some saves. And then Eric Nerl, who was teammates with Swanson in that class of 12, had already decided to go in when Swanson goes in. So I think it's December 17th. We will welcome those 3 officially into the Hall of Fame, along with our 2020 class of 2021 members. Everything got delayed for a year with the COVID. So just a great crowd, a great night to welcome those people in. If you've made it this far in the podcast and you haven't clicked it off yet, you've noticed I have not mentioned any individuals on any team so far. And that's by intent, because it's early in the season. Yeah. Preseason high school polls always drive me crazy, because we say, oh, these are the players that watch in the preseason. And it's like, okay, what about the surprise players? Did someone get lucky last year? And so I usually wait till our seasons get a little bit more under the belt before we start talking about some good performances. Connor Souders having a pick on back-to-back possessions. taking a close game and then blowing it open a little bit. Yeah, I think we'll comment on that one. Not only 2 picks in a game, but 2 pick sixes. And I think one was 24 yards, one was 34, just jumped the pattern and took it in. And so, Oakwood was having a pretty good run there. They're knocked their quarterback out of the game. Our defense did a great job. I mean, you want your defense, if they can't win the game for you, to at least hold it until the offense gets ready. Our guys did not face another team for the last 12 days. We canceled our second scrimmage because New Richmond fighting off a little bit of the corona. So we did not have a second scrimmage. That first quarter looked like it, 8 drop passes, but then the second quarter rolled around. We started catching ball, moving the ball, and then 2 pick sixes will always get you the room that you need. So a very good start for the football team. And then they traveled to Norwood on Friday night, a new team on our schedule. Norwood in a shootout with Madera last week. I think it was 45-34, something like that. I think they just said, okay, we'll take a couple of defenders off. Let's see how quick we can score on both sides. So hopefully our defense can slow the Indians down a little bit, and the offense keeps their feet under them.
How did you feel quarterback David Dortson looked in his debut? Of course, taking over for Andrew Glassmeyer, who won the league passing title a year ago. I think 235 yards and 4 touchdowns. Not a bad debut there either.
Not bad at all. Dortson's an incredible athlete, and he plays football and lacrosse. Undoubtedly, he could play basketball if he wanted to. Just a very talented athlete, very mobile, very strong. I mean, he's on the run. He's throwing off the back foot and still getting the ball there. Those are very hard ball, and he gives you the option of being pretty quick on the run as well. So. He makes things happen this way. We get another weapon back this week in Max Steppe, who'll be in the backfield. Just helps both sides. And so really good leadership out of our seniors. Great job by our lines the other day. Very big, probably one of our bigger offensive lines that we've had in the last couple of years. And as an old line coach, everyone knows everything starts up front. So just a good night, very good effort by Oakwood. The score is not indicative of that game. They have a good squad. They have a number of very good players. And so we wish them the best and hope their quarterback ends up all right as well. But just a good start. Great crowd. Just really felt good at volleyball and football. And then we'll see it with soccer this week. Just having so many people back in the stands. I think people are really appreciative to be back out and to be a part of it. Just a lot of positive energy in that stadium Friday night. It's good to have all that back.
And it allows us to have platforms like this to talk about those nights and those performances from the student athletes. It's good to be back into the swing of things here, not only in the school season, the athletic competition as well, but also back here on the podcast. Tom, certainly appreciate the time. Look forward to it in 2 weeks.
Appreciate it. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Thanks for everything.
That is Tom Nerl, athletic director of Mariemont High School, joining us for this week in Mariemont Warriors Athletics here on MariemontSports.com and ESP Media, powered by Sidearm Sports.